morning, Dunya.
Oh, good morning, Heather.
Hi, we're here today to discuss the art of natural breathing. And I wanted to know, what is the art of natural breathing?
Well, the art of natural breathing is a conscious form of breathing, which means that, normally when you're breathing, you're connecting your inhales and exhales, but you're not really conscious of it. And plus you're subventilating many times, so you're not breathing as much as you could breathe. So the art of natural breathing is a modality that brings more consciousness to your breath and allows the inhales and exhales to be connected, and then to bring consciousness to that process, which is a huge game changer. So when you're lying on a mat and you're breathing, connecting your inhales and exhales, it essentially allows you to be filled with that prana energy, life force energy in a very, very short amount of time. Normally, you're bleeding away about 90% of your energy through doing movement, either exercising or yoga, and it creates a little bit of a energy surplus in your body, but not anything compared to this form of cathartic breath work, which is called the art of natural breathing. And so that is what the art of natural breathing is all about. It's about really healing your physical body and then also your overall energy anatomy. So from a physical perspective, within 5 minutes of breathing, your heart moves into greater heart coherence, and you increase your heart rate variability, as well as move your whole physical and energy anatomy into a alkaline state, which means less inflammation, and just a lot of the diseases of today, joint pains, acid reflux, all those kind of things. If you do this and learn how to do this, many times it's a big, big medicine, and you can save yourself a lot of pills and doctor visits by just implementing this into your life.
So why is the art of natural breathing important to do, especially now?
Well, I was talking a little bit more, Heather, about the physiological aspects of this, but really on a psychospiritual level, it's so important to stay in alignment in this time period. So generally what we're doing, like our mind generally thrives on opposites, so we kind of externalize ourselves and always are looking for an enemy out there, something where we can push up against and then sort of affirm our more personality egoic state of being, which is not really helpful to us, because in that polarity we lose a lot of energy. So to realize that every moment we are co-creating with the universe, our reality, so our perceptual range depends on how we are responding to the situations in life. You probably noticed that I said responding and not reacting. So to use the art of natural breathing as a tool, it's really wonderful because it allows you to connect to source. And when I say source, I can really not explain it because that's a mystery, but it's really the totality and the more essential part of you that you're connecting with. And very quickly, within the first 5 to 10 minutes of using this breathwork modality. And the benefit of connecting to source is that you have a much more unified state of mind, as well as a way to come into a greater wholeness of yourself. And this greater wholeness, when you come back from that at the end of the breathing session, you're essentially not the same person anymore. And so things that are blocking or holding in your whole physicality, as well as emotional makeup, find release and openness in this connection with source. And it's a profound reconnecting process on a deeper level.
So what happens during a conscious breathing session?
Good question. So what happens during a conscious breathing session is that you go above the breathing threshold. Normally we are below the breathing threshold where we just subventilating and allowing ourselves to like barely have enough breath to live our life. Now, when you go above the breathing threshold, you expand your full consciousness range and your perceptual range, as well as allowing a lot of prana energy into your body. So another way of saying allowing a lot of prana energy into your body means that your body then will respond to this increase of awareness through having tingling in every cell. And tingling is like, in America, they say you have the chills. And there are many other sensations that come along with that. To me, I call it the language of the soul. So we have bodies and we are embodied. And so our way of being embodied is to allow this receptor sites in the brain to open up to bigger nervous system expansion. And so that means that your brain actually inside is changing functions to accommodate more energy, more awareness, and hence your nervous system will expand as well within about 10 to 15 minutes of breathing. And then you have all these increased sensations in your body that are new to most people, but to me, I call it the language of the soul, and is a way of learning it and seeing how your body responds in certain situations. So more and more, actually, this practice is an embodiment practice where you're using the breath to become more aware of the deeper underlying currents of how you move through the world in your truth and what truth really is from moment to moment.
Yeah, I've been breathing for about 2 years now. And so I've done individual breathing sessions, which last about 50 minutes. And number one, I'm usually reluctant. Because it takes effort. And I'm like, oh, I've got to breathe. But then I get to this point where I just surrender to the breath. And each breathing session is different for me. I kind of allow whatever it is to arise. Sometimes it's happiness. Sometimes it's old pains in my body. Sometimes I can get emotional, and then my body is all tingling and vibrating, and somehow or other that skin, that barrier that is somehow perceived between me and the universe dissolves, so that I am just a part of consciousness.
Oh, that's such a wonderful way of putting it, Heather. Yes, I absolutely agree. And I think it's wonderful you're saying that with each session, which is about 50 to 60-minute long, we access a different aspect of ourselves. So, I never like to quote so often sacred scriptures because there's so many religions and you can't be just to all of them. But, there's one thing in the Bible where it says, God's mansion has many rooms. So this is exactly right, because as you're going above the breathing threshold, you can access different aspects of your sort of multidimensional self, really, and find out about your greater expanded totality that's not just dependent on your physical body. So realize.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say, after the breathing session, there's this incredible sense of well-being and connectedness. And what I find really important with the art of natural breathing is that my lungs, it's kind of like exercising my lungs. So my whole respiratory system feels very strengthened. And it's time of the coronavirus, and my lungs, that part of my body, feels very empowered.
Yes, that's so true. Yes, absolutely. When we subventilate, we use about a third of our lungs. And when we use the cathartic breathwork modality, the art of natural breathing, we really allow ourselves to breathe into the front of the chest as well as the back body of the lungs and open up that full capacity. So it's actually really immune system building, hence the super oxygenization of all your cells, as well as reminding you that you have such a big intake. And in practicing this and optimizing your breath throughout your day, you can be extremely preventative with this work, because oxygen, again, more and more medicine is finding, and I'm a medical anthropologist, so I'm reading always about the latest research, that oxygen is one of the major immune building factors. And so, the breath is really a no-brainer for anyone. And, many healing, healing rooms and medical practices in Germany that are integrative already have a breathwork practitioner on board. So not only do you have a doctor and art therapist, but you also have a breathwork therapist. And oftentimes people don't make it to the doctor, because a lot of times symptoms that arise with breath work, they arise and they dissipate very, very quickly, especially as we let go of our emotional holding and our contractions around certain topics mentally as well as physically. So yeah, this is certainly something that is very supportive in this time of challenge.
So what are your future plans for bringing the art of natural breathing to people?
Well, to my own surprise, I've moved my practice onto Zoom now, and I just had a breathing class yesterday with 15 people and from all over the world. So before, I would see clients from New York City and sometimes California, but then I wouldn't see them for a long time, because like a psychotherapist, I have, person-to-person in-house visits, but that come to my practice. But now suddenly this has opened up, and my question was, is this like really workable on Zoom? And to my surprise, it's very workable. People have profound experiences in the classes as well as in private session. And I can really preserve the breathing class environment by allowing the whole world to participate. So yesterday we had people from Germany, we had people from California, from New York City. So it becomes this whole global community that is able to work on healing on themselves, and with that for the planet, because as you raise your own vibration and consciousness and heal your own topics, you're affecting everybody in the pond. As you're throwing that pebble in, the circles get wider and wider. So I'm so glad that you are producing, and other people are producing more Zoom breathing classes to just keep us in alignment and co-create this new world.